Hi everyone and welcome to Grumpy Old Men. Maybe not that grumpy, but well, at least we're men. Well, I'm not exactly sure. Hello, Steve.
I'm a man and I'm fine. Thank you for asking.
Okay, and I should ask, how's your prostate?
Yeah, well, since we're on the subject of men and their infirmities, my prostate is long gone and I am better for that.
Now, I should also mention that you're not dead.
No, I'm not. And about 50-50 reaction to that. Some people would have preferred that I checked out when I said I thought I would. You know what's weird about that? Can I take a moment?
Yeah, sure.
Do you mind? So I lived with this idea in my head. If you at home are not aware of what Tim's talking about, there was a night in 2003, I was in extremis. I was confined to my home because of social anxiety disorder. I was going through a terrible, terrible divorce. And in 3 days, I was going to have to go before a judge and prove that I could be a good father and deserve 50% custody of my children. And I had just been fired from a job spectacularly for making $1 million client cry in a meeting. And
That's another program.
That's another program. And I'm sitting at home at 3 a.m. and I haven't slept for days. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I was very afraid of what I was going to do. And I looked up at the ceiling, and I'm not religious, but I looked at the ceiling and I said, I'll do whatever I have to do to be a good father until the kids grow up. But at the end of it, I want a year in Thailand. I get 1 year in Thailand, and that's the deal. And I laid down, I went right to sleep. And ever since then, for the 20 years after that, from 2003 to 23, I had it in my head that I would get exactly 1 year in Thailand, and then it would end, either with my demise or with some other calamity, or I would simply get bored and go home or whatever.
So this was like May the 14th? This was the end of that 12 months?
I entered the country on May the 12th.
The 12th, okay.
Which I had the date wrong and thought it was the 13th. But at any rate, it is past. That day is past, and here I am. And aren't we all glad that I'm still here? The problem is that in my head for 20 years, that was a thought about death. That was a dark and serious thought. As soon as I made it public on YouTube, it became a joke. People kept asking, hey, how you feeling? 10 days left. What are you going to make it? I mean...
So the question is, when you woke up on May the 13th, mm-hmm. the day before the election in Thailand, mm-hmm. did you sort of go, did something cross your mind? Was it a moment of thought, of reflection?
When I wake up, I don't think anything. When I wake up, I have a massive coffee.
After your first coffee.
But yes, after a coffee, a cigarette, and a dump, I got on the bike and I had that meditative 2 hours of riding the bike up and down the beach. And that's when I considered this fact that I was still here. And like, what now? Because I haven't prepared for anything past May 13th. I'm still renting a motorcycle. So since then, that has been the thought. Okay, if we assume Steve will stay here for years to come, God willing, knock on wood, what then? What are you going to do with that time? What do is the money going to be enough to last you? Do you have everything you need when you get too old to climb stairs? What are you going to do? All of a sudden, I'm thinking about that stuff that other retirees think about every day or in the time preparing to come here. And I've never thought about that stuff. For 20 years, the dream has just been, 25 years, the dream has just been...
Steve, the good news for you, there isn't a stair in this place.
No.
You are stairless.
There are two shallow stairs. But... No, but you understand. That was an example that perhaps I won't have to face unless they throw me out of here. If Turtle Beach continues on its present trajectory of getting more and more Farang tourists every high season.
Most of them coming to see you, by the way.
A few, yeah. We've had two today.
There were some visitors here when I arrived.
Yeah. People are taking me at my word and showing up. There's a Boontong sign hanging outside. People are showing up for a cup of coffee, and I like that. That's great. We had to chase the second group away because we were doing this.
2 words, Steve. Entrance fee.
Well,
you're worried about making money. Pay some money to come and see Steve.
At the moment, I'm not at all worried about money, but
Thais
that time
pay
may
twice
come.
as much as the
Yes. Oh, I love that. I'm going to hang a sign. That's a beautiful idea. I'm going to hang a sign. Farang free, Thai 20 baht. Hell yes.
By the
I
way,
love
if
that
you do
idea.
want to come and see Steve, you do have to bring gifts.
Well, people have, yes.
Food is
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Jewelry would be better.
Yeah, I like silver. I don't like gold so much. But really nice turquoise and silver. The people today brought baked goods, really nice baked goods, and someone brought coffee. And Molly, who came this morning, brought lighting instruments for me to use to light my boontong set. She is disappointed with my lighting technique, and I never lit in the film industry.
We're all disappointed with your lighting.
I know,
technique.
I am too.
For a person who worked in the film industry.
I did props. I did set dressing. I never did sound, camera, direction.
You were never the best
lighting.
boy.
I was never best boy. I was lead man, never best boy. So yeah, I'm learning all of that. Oh, editing. Oh, I suck at editing. My videos are edited like a 10-year-old with a school project. But I did just buy a Mac once I made it past May 13th.
All the money you're
invested in a
making
Mac.
from your YouTube.
Nothing.
So I just want to point out that I've got a plastic turquoise mug, and you've got a porcelain cup,
With no turtle
which
sticker.
matches the mat. What happened? Oh, hang on. I do have a. There's nothing in it.
That's from one of the. All of my glassware went to the visitors today. You're the fifth person who came by. I gave coffee and water to
I'm
every
just a
person.
visitor.
Well, you are visiting at the moment. You're a good friend, Tim. You're a good friend, and I appreciate your company very much.
I'm not going to bring
But
goods.
I didn't have any more cups. The cups are all over there. Chamlan has gone home. The cups are all over there waiting to be washed.
Yeah,
So
where's your
this
man
is-
Friday? Where's he?
He goes home for lunch at noon, and sometimes he
Doesn't
comes
come
back.
back.
No, he can come. If we're doing a project, last week he put new guttering because the rainy season's here, and the guttering on the back of this house had rusted and deteriorated. So he put all new guttering and downspouts on the back of this house last week. This week, I don't have any big projects, so he sweeps, he mops, he does my laundry, he washes dishes, then he goes home. Yeah.
If he's available, I've got a new resort that needs a few things doing.
Oh, he would not go to Phuket to save his life. Everybody here hates Phuket.
Hate is a very strong word,
Yes.
Steve.
And in this case, apropos. Yeah. Oh, no, because they all, their parents told them. It's like Juarez, okay? I lived in El Paso, Texas, right across the border from Juarez. And everybody in El Paso has grown up listening to their parents talk about how on a weekend they'd go see a movie in Juarez because it was 50 cents. Prom night, every prom date in El Paso for generations, go across the border to Mexico, buy your date a huge dinner, rent a limo, yada, yada, yada. Now you can't cross that border. You take your life in your hands, you cross that border. Now nobody goes on prom night to Juarez. And they're angry about it. They're pissed off, this generation.
Okay, now
So-
I'm stupid. Okay, I'm just trying to get my
that's in the comment section usually, but go on.
in my just trying to get my geography right. This is in Mexico, which is a foreign country.
Juarez is in Mexico.
In Mexico. So you have to go across the US border.
It's just a dry river. And there are 100 places you can cross that dry river where there are no cops, no bridges, no fences.
But they've
nothing.
cracked down on all that.
They've cracked down on all that. There's still 100 places. I mean, the wall. What a. At any rate, so my point is, here in Thai Muang, they used to go to Phuket to go shopping. The big day out was go to Phuket. Now you can't do a day trip to Phuket. You do. But it takes you a day to get there and a day to get back.
It doesn't take you a day.
If you're traveling on the public buses, yes, it does.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
I come up in my limousine.
Yeah, we're not
or
talking
my-
about you right now. We're talking about the people of Thai Muang and why they hate Phuket. It's something their parents had, their grandparents had, their great-grandparents had that was special and wonderful, and now it's ruined.
So when I open my resort,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be, of course, a honoured guest, you would not come down to Phuket?
If I had a place to stay, yes, I would come to Phuket.
It's a friggin' resort, of course.
Well,
there's a place
exactly.
to stay.
Yes, but it does not exist yet. When it exists, you make that offer. He won't. I'll bet you $1. After opening day, he will never
$1.
invite
Come on,
me.
better than $1. Make a bet with
That's
me.
all I have to bet. That's all I have.
Make a bet for about 3,000 baht, which would be the value
And
of
I'll
the
just
room.
pay for my room if I come. I'll just pay for my room.
So we got some questions from the viewer.
Okay.
So let's get into these. And we actually,
viewer.
somehow between the people sending the messages and me writing them down here, we've lost who actually sent them in. I don't think it was you, Clive, but if it was, thank you very much.
Hey, Clive.
So first one, this is
All right, I'm
this
ready.
sort of deep cultural stuff, all right?
Okay.
Are friendships between Farang, I'm going to get to that word in a sec, and Thai, or even between Farang, even possible? There's so much to this. Firstly, what do you think about the word Farang? I personally find it a little bit offensive.
Well, it is not intended to be that way.
I think sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is. Listen,
Farang.
yeah, and I greet my best friend in America with, "Hey, asshole." Context creates meaning. A single word taken out of context has very little meaning. If you look up the word farang in the dictionary, it'll say guava fruit. It won't say derogatory term for Caucasian foreigner. If it is said in a certain tone of voice in certain context, yes. I refer to myself as a farang all the time.
But you couldn't, for example, use that word in the United States.
What?
It would be highly offensive as a racist slur.
Farang.
Yeah.
Oh,
You couldn't walk around sort of talking about
and yet-
those white people.
Yet I can call another Jew Jaime. A black man can call another black man the N-word.
Well,
I thought the election was over. Why is this still going
they're
on?
flogging guava fruit or
Yeah.
farang.
Context creates the meaning.
Yes.
If somebody, if you don't pay a taxi driver what he wants, you hand him, he says 800 baht to go to Phuket Town. You get to Phuket Town, you hand him 100 baht and say, "I know that's the price. That's all I'm going to pay." You turn around and walk away. He's going to say, "Blah, blah, blah, Farang, blah, 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 Farang." In that case, yeah, he's throwing shade at you. But
Hang on, would you tip a taxi driver in Thailand?
I tip everybody.
Oh,
My nickname in Thai is Tip, Lung Tip, Uncle
Yes.
Tip.
That's why they love
Americans tip. Americans tip.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
you. You make it difficult for the rest of
And
us.
if you've
Us
got,
white
yeah, I don't
people.
care how life's difficult for you. I'm very self-centered. And I have a theater degree, which means I've worked in a butt ton of restaurants. When you have a theater degree, you wait tables. That's what you do. That's what you're qualified to do. So I have lived on tips in my life. So I tip. And yes, I tip a taxi driver. And, you know, I have a very good friend. I mean, we'll get to the qualities of friendship, but I consider her a friend, and she and I talk very comfortably. And she said to me once, "You're the first Farang friend I've ever had." Well, she's not insulting me. She's giving me a compliment, and the word Farang is in there, but it doesn't mean, you know, you're the first asshole friend I've ever had.
So, do you sort of consider that most Thai women would be looking at you as
Lusting hard.
a warm ATM?
Not most Thai women, most Thai bar girls, all Thai bar girls, yes. And again, this goes to the concept of friendship and reciprocity. What do we expect in terms of obligation and debt within a friendship? You and I have a friendship, right?
Yes.
I think so. We have a friendship here. I've never been to your house. I've never met your family, but we have a friendship.
Because you won't come to Phuket, that's why.
Well, there are many reasons, but
I'm not going to bring
yeah.
them up here.
But there is reciprocity.
Don't touch the table.
Sorry. You help me out. This channel draws attention to my. That's not the only reason you're my friend, but it's part of the friendship that I very much appreciate. In the West, we include the concept of reciprocity within our concept of friendship. We have business friendships. We have friends with benefits. We have a whole variety of friendships, and they all involve some sort of give and take. Here, they're just more clear and serious about it. And if you want another 10 minutes on rice culture, I can tell you why I think this comes completely from the activity of growing rice. The socialism, the communality, and the reciprocity that's in their relationship paradigm comes from the necessities of growing rice. You don't want that 10 minutes.
I don't
believe
want
me.
10 minutes.
You don't want that 10 minutes.
Can you give me 2 minutes? A 2 minute.
You cannot grow rice alone. A man will starve and his family will starve if he tries to grow a paddy alone. You need the help of your friends and family. That's why you see postcards of all these lines of peasants in conical hats planting rice together and singing in
Isn't
the
that
field.
in Vietnam, the conical hats?
And they wear them here too. I've got one on my wall back
Okay.
there. But my point is, they though I do appreciate your interjection, and it's a road bump. It will slow me down, I promise. But yeah, so you cannot do this alone. There are 3 grains on which civilization is based: maize in the New World, wheat in North Africa and Europe, and rice in Asia. All civilization is only possible because we grow grasses and eat the seeds. That's what allows us to stop being hunter-gatherers and build civilization. So a man working alone can grow enough maize to feed his family, enough wheat to feed his family. He cannot grow rice alone. 10,000 years he has needed all his family and friends to come help him. If he pissed off his neighbors and they didn't come help him, his family literally starved to death. So that reciprocity is built in. We're friends, we're family, we're brothers maybe, but I come help you with your rice because I expect you to come help me with my rice.
All right, so, okay, you've explained that. Can I get back to the original question
Yes,
here? Because I
please.
think we might have
Yes,
strayed
please.
a little bit.
It'll happen.
Are friendships between Farang and Thai, or even Farang, we'll leave that one for later, even possible? So you're saying that the relationship between a Farang and a Thai is always going to be based around some sort of business or quid pro quo?
No. Every relationship an Asian person has is transactional. An Asian person is raised by his mother with the expectation that when she's old, he will take care of her. That is built into the relationship. He loves his mother like anybody loves his mother.
Sure.
She loves him. But they both have expectations of the other participant in this relationship.
So mum
husband
dotes
and
on
wife.
Mum dotes on the child while it grows up with the expectation that
That he will take care of her in her old age, right? Every relationship is reciprocal, is transactional in Asia. Also our relationships, but we're not so obvious about it.
All right. So now, the question sort of said, or even between Farang. So why would there be a question whether foreigners can be friends together?
I don't know. I like you a lot, Tim. I don't know why.
But stop touching the table. You won't like me much more.
Sorry.
So I'm thinking that to have foreign friends is sort of a bit special because living in a place like Phuket, for example, people tend to be fairly sort of transitional. They come and work for a couple of years, so you might know somebody for a few years, then they're off to do something else and somebody else arrives. So you don't have those 10, 20-year long friendships. Is that what this person is asking?
I'm not sure. I know how I would respond. I'm 65 years old.
How would you respond, Steve?
I don't need any new friends. I'm not interested in deep friendships or any kind of deep relationship. I like a nice casual relationship like this one.
Turning up every 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, that's perfect for me. I love when people drop by Boontongs for about an hour. I'll feed you a cup of coffee. If I've got some brownies around, I'll feed you a brownie, and then you gotta go. You know, that's how Steve
After you've paid
is.
your entrance fee.
As Steve needs a break. You know, Steve needs a nap. But I think that between Farang and Thailand is very interesting. First of all, chances are you don't share a background. You and I were raised very differently. Different countries, different cultures, different backgrounds. A German man, a Russian man, a Polish man, I have less in common with them. It's going to be a little more difficult for me to make a close personal relationship with those guys unless we share a foxhole. If you go through a tsunami, you go through a wild night out, some kind of event, that will cement a friendship. But I think...
So with us, it's sort of our common interest in the media and our background in media.
Yes, and we met through the Tiger. You probably don't remember. You bought.
Oh no, I remember.
You bought a couple stories for me when I was still in Iowa, long time ago. I'm pretty sure I was still in Iowa, like pre-2014, I think. Would that be right?
No.
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 When did you buy the Gazette?
2016.
Oh, okay. So I
Early
would have
2010.
I would have been in New Mexico by then. But yeah, I know we met when you bought a couple stories for me. So and it was a transactional. It was a business relationship that grew into a friendship.
But when you arrived here, I did track you down.
Did you?
Yeah, I hunted you.
I'm flattered. Yeah, that makes me feel special.
Good.
I think, probably if you're somebody who, particularly if you're homesick and you live with a Thai spouse and she doesn't let you get out of the house, she doesn't want you to meet other women, she doesn't want you to meet anybody who will tell you what's really happening.
So on that, just interjecting, the relationship, a marriage or a boyfriend-girlfriend situation between a Farang and a Thai girl, or it could be a Thai guy, it's going to be more transactional. Rather than just pure friendship or pure lust.
I don't have any experience of any kind of marriage other than what you've just described. No personal experience. And mine certainly was transactional, and it died in flames. It was the worst 10 years of my life and left me damaged for life. Not necessarily because she was expecting more than I could provide, or I was expecting more than she could provide. But simply because we weren't in love. We got married because it seemed like a good idea. And what are you doing Thursday? You want to get married? Yeah, let's get married. But I think, I've met mixed race couples where they were together for decades and they were very much in love. And I have seen a fair number of the more predatory relationships coming from both ways. Both partners are guilty of predation. Yeah.
The internet, the forums are just full of, well, in most cases, horror stories.
Yeah.
Of course, we tend to hear the horror stories more than the everything worked out fine. So it's not that every relationship is going to end like this, but I think there is some sort of general expectation that if you're going to have a relationship with a Thai person, that there is a different dynamic that's there to start with. And that whether you like it or not, you're going to have to get along with their family. Mm-hmm. That's just a given.
Yeah,
it's just quite a different situation. So be prepared. Well,
perhaps I don't know how a marriage is between a man of your station and a person, an Aussie person, who grew up poor and uneducated and desperate. I don't know if that person might not be expecting a lot from you, just as the poor, uneducated, desperate person here does.
I was the poor, uneducated, and desperate.
There you go.
That's me.
So, and yeah.
All right, let's move on to the second question.
All right.
I'm not even sure if we answered the first one.
Can I take 1 second here? You don't have to stop the camera.
Okay.
Just wait right there 1 second.
Right.
My OCD.
Yeah.
My OCD has kicked in, and
I've got no way of keeping you quiet.
There you go.
And by the way, we do have some more ducks. You've been buying up ducks.
When I go to Phuket, all I do is buy toys. I don't do anything else. I'll walk the bar soys just to see, am I missing anything? No. And I'll go to places that were important to me in the 90s, but mostly I just buy toys. I've shopped every toy shop up here. So now if I go to Phuket, I buy toys. So I bought some ducks.
So just while you're on that, since you've been back to Phuket lately and you've gone and revisited some of these toys that you saw 10, 20 years ago. 35 years ago. Yeah. What's your current report on the situation?
Well, I've told you I hate it.
Report card.
It's a much different, I'll tell you what, and criticize my word choice if you will. It was charming. I swear to you, in 1988, the first time I stepped on that island and went to my first girly bar on Kata Beach, it was charming. It was sweet. It was provincial. It was much more quiet, much less busy, and it was fun. Now it's not fun. That's an office. The people who work in those bars, that's their office. That's where they come to work. And you come in there, you better come in with money in your pocket, know what you want to buy, and be ready to buy it in the next 10 minutes and go.
Has the price of that transaction gone up over the years?
In the bars, I don't know, because even back in the 90s, I didn't go to the Barbers for that kind of thing. If it's not too much information, I like a soapy massage. I like 90 minutes in a clean room, knowing there's security downstairs, and this woman won't rip me off. and knowing what's on the menu, and she knows me, and she knows, I like a soapy massage. I don't like playing Connect Four in a bar with somebody named after a barnyard animal.
What's this Connect Four everybody talks about? I don't know what Connect Four is. Help me out. Sorry.
These kids these days, it's just a bar game. It used to be, before you had phones translating, you had to kill time. You sit there with and it was expected you'd buy them a couple drinks before you took them out. So you had to fill that couple drinks with something. Couldn't be conversation. She didn't speak your language.
What, Snakes and Ladders? It's a board game.
Yeah, no. Dominoes, Connect Four, which is a vertical wall pierced with rows of holes, and you drop a plastic disc into this and try to make four in a row.
Oh, okay.
That's called Connect Four.
Right.
There were even decks of cards. Show me a deck of cards now. I don't know why.
They're illegal, aren't they?
Yes, and they were then too. But the girls loved to play cards. They loved to gamble, and they would do it on the bar in the
playing cards.
Yeah, and it was a way to pass the time. There were dartboards, there were pool tables, all kinds of ways to pass the time with somebody who doesn't share your language.
I built my first boat with the winnings of 500 against Chinese university students. Anyway, that's another story. You'd play.
I want to hear that story. Can we do that next episode? Can we hear that story?
Sure.
Oh, I like that. Let's hear Tim tell a story. Yeah,
if I can
Steve,
get a word in. So, okay, question number 2. How long have we been going? We're only on to question number 2. By the way, I fell off during the week, and I fell off my motorbike. I was run off the road by 2 young ladies. That was really just their mistake. They didn't see me coming. I was trying to sort of cut in, and they pushed me off the road, and I fell over. Luckily, it was wet on the side. The grass was wet, and it was a bit soft, and I it's damaged my hand just a little bit, and my face is okay. Thank God. Heavens,
thank God. The brand will survive.
But I'm thinking that also you had a bike accident a few months ago.
Bicycle, yes.
Yeah. Do we get to a stage where we sort of have to have a good look at ourselves and think we've just got to be aware that our motor skills perhaps aren't quite as fine-tuned as they were a few years ago? But do we know when that moment is?
Well, I pay Chamnan to get up on the ladder now. I don't get up on a ladder anymore. I think it comes and you have a mistake.
That usually happens after you've fallen off.
Well, yeah, that's when you say, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I had a friend come visit me. Excuse me. As soon as I got here a year ago, a friend named Ray from Phuket. He used to have Ray's Bluefin Tavern, Ray Villancourt. And he came up here, as soon as I got here, he came up and visited me. We went and had lunch, we had coffee. And he said, I was really, really happy to have an excuse to come up to Thai Muang because all I can do now is ride the motorcycle. I have an expensive bicycle. I can't use it anymore. I can't shoot pool anymore. My hands shake. The only thing I can do now for myself is ride this motorcycle. So I'm very, very happy to have come up to Thai Muang. And I think, the time comes, we have to face the fact our faculties are diminished. Our physical strength is diminished. My bicycle accident happened because of a mental lapse, not a physical lapse. But I made my living typing.
A lapse is a lapse.
I made my living typing for 20 years, and I was really, really good at it. I was tested at 175 words a minute, which is outrageously good.
On an Olivetti.
And that's using, that was with a pointed stick and clay tablets. That was with macros. Don't anybody who has worked in an office out there and say no human has ever typed beyond 125 words a minute. It's with macros because that's how you worked in the industry. But my point is now I try to respond to somebody in the comment section and I get head up, I get excited and my hands shake and I find I cannot type a phrase because my hands are hitting the wrong keys.
Do you know what we could do? We could get ChatGPT to respond to all the comments on Grumpy Old Men.
No. That's half the fun.
Thank you very much for your comment.
That's half the fun.
We really appreciate you watching the program.
Yeah. Please do tune in next week.
Yeah.
No, I hate ChatGPT.
Oh, you don't, because you don't even know much about it.
No, I know that people are talking about it can write novels now, so screw it.
Well, part of the reason the writers are having a strike in Hollywood is because they're worried that Steven Spielberg's going to go, write me a Indiana Jones 5 sequel.
Yeah. Well,
and it'll come up with some sort of plot.
Judging by 2, 3, and 4, that it would be just as good. Don't get me started on Mr. Spielberg.
Well, what you got against Steven Spielberg?
No, I just think episodes 2, 3, well, not 2. That was the one with Sean Connery. 2 was okay. But all of these franchises get to the money-grubbing cash grab point, including Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I think is a sublime film, the first one. It's absolutely marvelous in so many ways. And by the time you get to the last one, where they're grooming this young man to take over, supposedly his illegitimate son or his unknown, it's just, give us more money, and no thought,
and nothing
no
came of that, by the way.
Yeah.
So I suppose the other question would be, can you name any sequels that were better than the original film? Now, we spoke about Die Hard last week, and the sequels of that. No, you didn't give them a thumbs up.
Well, everybody says The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, yes.
Is better than a First Hope, A New Hope, the episode 4. Anyway, the second Star Wars is better than the first. I like them both.
It was probably the best of the whole franchise.
Yeah, see, there's that. People say that. So that's the only one that springs
I'll
to
give
mind.
you one.
Okay.
With Aliens was better than the original Alien.
Ooh.
The first one scared you with a feather.
Right.
Scared the shit out of you, by the way. The second one scared you with a huge explosions and it was frenetic.
Many more aliens. Well, but see, that's the thing. It's two different genres of movie making, which is what's amazing about it. The first one's a haunted house horror movie.
Yes.
This group of high school kids is locked in a haunted house. They can't get out. And there's a maniac going around killing them one by one in the dark corridors. It's a classic haunted house horror movie. The second one is a classic war movie.
Yeah.
A platoon of Marines going to Iwo Jima, right? And it's bang, bang, shoot 'em up. And it ends with a Wild West shootout between the sheriff and the bad guy. Both of them women, in this case, fighting over the life of a child. And it's two different kinds of movie, but they're both fantastic. They're both spectacular.
Yeah, so that to me was the second one was, I thought, very enjoyable. I don't really like horror movies, so I think that's why I like the second one better. But that was a great movie. They've never been able to...
Well, the second one also had a much more talented cast. Some of the acting in the first one was very questionable. And
wouldn't you have loved to have been the props guy on Aliens?
Well, I don't know. It's like Jaws. There's all kinds of the movie's about a prop, but there's all kinds of stories about how the shark kept sinking in Jaws and the ocean kept washing the paint off it, so it was a bright white. And there's the same kind of stories in Aliens, the second Alien movie. Getting the mama to get up off her egg nest and walk was months of effort and trial and error. That kind of thing. No, I was more of a hand props guy. Or a set dressing guy. I would have loved to have done those sets, boy. Just smearing slime on the walls. Oh, that would have been fun. Yeah. Run the smoke machine. More smoke!
Anyway, we digress. Let's get on to our second question. Thai versus Farang, sense of humour. So this, again, is a bit of a sort of deep dive into Thai culture. I try and see as much Thai cinema as I can sort of bear.
Good for you.
Because I enjoy new movies, and the Thais are prolific with their movie making, and they've got
good at it.
They've very good movie making skills. The topics and the humour, the Thais around me are giggling and laughing and sniggering behind their hands, and I'm going, I don't get this at all. So there is a difference in the sense of humour. In 30 seconds, or just a little bit more... Oh, God.
Have we met?
Can we define what this difference is? What is the difference? I do actually have a cultural expert down in Phuket who could answer this. He's a professor of cultural studies.
Wow.
But I'm going to ask you,
okay,
what do you think that difference is between Thai humour and Western humour?
Well, the Thais love a good fart joke. Their humor, as far as I have experienced it, and I could recommend a couple really good Thai movies if you want. Their humor is much more, we might call it juvenile. It's much more visceral. It's about farts and
Slapstick.
slapstick, being stuck in the dunny without without water to wash your butt. That kind of stuff. Gatoys, they love to giggle and laugh at gatoys.
Every single movie's got the sort of token Katoy or gay character.
Yeah. And he's always a sympathetic, beloved character, but he's an object of ridicule and laughter.
Yeah.
They don't have sarcasm. And this was a problem for me because I'm a sarcastic son of a bitch. So I have this wonderful noodle lady that I go to, and when I first went to her, and this is after being away for 25 years, I'd forgotten this. Thais don't do sarcasm. She feeds me this bowl of noodles, and I eat every scrap. I eat everything on that plate. It's a bare plate with a pair of chopsticks in the corner. And, of course, they always come over and they say, "Aroy mai?" And I say, "My aroy, gin madai." It's terrible. I can't eat it. Thinking she will see this empty plate in front of me and realize I'm being sarcastic. "My aroy, my chop, my tong tai tang." You don't have to pay for it. I was like, no, I loved it. I was joking. So I have since paid attention to that, and no, they don't know sarcasm. If you say something, they're assuming you are literally speaking what you feel.
I have a friend who, we have a sort of a repartee which is just full of sort of criticism and sarcastic comments. And when we have Thai friends around, they're sort of going, "Yeah, but why don't you like each other? Why are you so rude to each other?"
Yeah.
I say, "No, well, that's just the way we have fun." And they're totally confused.
Like I said, in America, I greet my best friend with, "Hey, asshole." They don't understand that at all.
I haven't quite reached...
I'm on here. How are you doing?
I haven't reached the asshole category yet. I look forward to that, Steve.
Well, maybe today will change things.
So what do you think about the differences between Thai humour and Western humour? Now, I have to say, even in the West, the Australian sense of humour is quite different from the American sense of humour, for example.
Yeah.
Something like Faulty Towers doesn't sort of work in America. Well, it didn't. They had to make their own version called Maud, which had more of that sort of American sensibility. In Australia, we sort of got the best of the British humour and the best of the American stuff, and I grew up with both. But they're quite different, those types of humours. Sarcasm doesn't work quite as well in the US as it does in the UK, for example.
I don't know about any of that. I love.
You're not as worldly as I am.
That's true. No,
you grew up
very
in
true.
Texas.
I know
Iowa.
I know Iowa and southern Thailand. That's all I know. I don't know northern Thailand, central Thailand, or any other part of the United States. Well, Texas. But other than that, no, you are very much more experienced than me in international things. I'm very provincial.
So we'd be very interested in your comments about the differences of humour. I mean, for example, there's a stereotype that one country in the middle of Europe that's got a lot to do with running the EU, they don't really have much of a sense of humour at all. I mean, so these are typecasts, but they're obviously built around...
They're generalities.
But they're built around some sort of...
Yeah, every generality, every stereotype has a kernel of truth at its center. It began from truth. I've never lived in Central European countries that have anything to do with the EU. Never visited the UK, never visited Australia. I've never been anywhere except here in Iowa. So I can't speak to the Farang differences. I will tell you, one of my favorite Thai movies is fairly recent. It's on Netflix right now if you want to watch it. It's called Rocket Angels. It's about the Yasoton, Rocket Angels.
Oh, I've seen that. It's great.
Have you?
I loved it.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yes.
Funny as hell, but it's all that slapstick. It's laughing at guitars. In this,
with the sound effects, you got to have the sound effects.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's a high school comedy romp about 5 high school girls who build a rocket to enter this rocket contest. Except 4 of the high school girls are played by middle-aged guitars. And everybody in the show relates to them as if they are teenage girls. They're not playing middle-aged guitars. They're playing teenage girls with all the flouncing and the hand-waving and the attention to their appearances and everything else. They are playing high school girls, and the conceit of the movie is everybody accepts them as high school girls. It is just funny as hell.
Can we explain the Yasoton Rocket Festival? Because it is a cultural phenomenon. I think that when who was the president of the United States? John Kennedy.
He was a president, yes, of the
John
United
Kennedy.
States,
Sorry,
whose administration was unfortunately cut short prematurely.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
But he decided they were going to send men to the moon. They sent people over to the Yasoton Rocket Festival to figure out how they were going to get a rocket up to the moon.
Really? That's awesome. That's awesome.
I think that's sarcasm. So these are people who the idea of the competition is to get your rocket to go as high as it possibly can. The idea is it's meant to pierce the clouds and bring about the wet season. So the way that they build these, basically they use PVC tube, dynamite, TNT, and a lot of hope and a match. And stand back.
Oh my God.
Now, some of them take off, some of them go very high, some of them don't.
No.
The odd hand gets blown off. And just type in Yasoton, Yasatorn, Yasoton, into your Google machine, into YouTube, and you'll see videos. I even did a whole thing about it.
There's a lot of one-handed men in Yasoton. Yeah.
That movie was so funny.
Wasn't it? Now, there's a new one on Netflix that just was released called You and Me and Me, which is about a pair of identical twin girls, and it's played by identical twin girls. There's no camera action. They found two teenage identical twin girls.
Like the Patty Duke show.
Yes, exactly. Only it's two actresses. It's not Patty Duke in two cameras. And it's just a coming-of-age story. It's their teenage years, and they find love, and it splits them.
I always thought, when I used to watch Patty Duke, I sort of figured out what was going on pretty quickly, even though I was very young. I was thinking, why didn't they just find a pair of twins? It would have made the whole thing much easier.
Finding one good actress, one good adolescent actress is hard enough. Finding two who are it's like a 1 in a million chance. And these girls are awesome. These girls cry on cue. They laugh on cue. They actually make connections with their co-actors. They're really skilled little actresses, these two girls. And it's a funny show. Their names are You and Me. Okay, Bear, Me, I guess is Bear. Me is Bear, whatever Me is. Anyway, in Thai, their nicknames are You and Me, which they discovered is English words for you and me, so that's funny. So they call each other Go and Mung in Thai, which is a joke which the captions writer did not try to translate. But these are two very impolite pronouns that mean you and me. But these two sisters can use them because they've spent every minute of their lives together since birth. It's just a funny, very well-made, well-shot, well-acted movie. They do movies great here.
On Netflix, and there would be English translations.
No, well, it's what I watched was the subtitles. I don't think it's dubbed. It's a brand new movie.
Yeah, they've got the subtitles, yes.
Yeah, subtitles.
Yes.
Which, if you're interested in improving your spoken Thai, this would help. The Rocket Angels is all in Isan. It's all ball. I just want to Ben Fan Kun die ball. Is it like this? Anybody know that? Anyway, it's all in Isan, and I couldn't understand a word of it. But You and Me is in Bangkok, and it's in Central Thai, and I could understand whole phrases. I was very pleased.
Isn't it fascinating that a country of, 70 million has such a prolific industry, both in TV production and film, and the only people that can watch them in the native language are the locals. So with the American industry, there's other countries that speak English. But with the Thai film industry, literally, it's only the Thais that can watch it without subtitles.
And can I tell you?
Do I have a choice?
Can I tell you a story? How much time do we have? How much time do we have? All right,
I can cut it down
in
later.
the 90s, everybody said the Thai film industry is dead because they did an experiment. They made their first big budget, epic, spectacular movie. It was called Gawi Jak Bang Plang.
The war elephants thing?
No. That's Kingdom of the White Elephant by Priti Panamyong, the guy who engineered the revolution that ended the monarchy. What he really wanted to do was direct. So he directed a movie in English called The Kingdom of the White Elephant, 1939, I think. Beautiful movie. But anyway, Gawi Jak Bang Plang is the crows of Bang Plang. Bang Plang being a village, right? And it's a science fiction movie or horror movie. It's about these aliens that take over the children in a town and control their minds. Well, they spent, I think at the time, $5 million, which was huge for a Thai movie. Most Thai movies at that time were made for like $10,000. And they submitted it to all these foreign festivals, and it was going to make Thailand's cinematic reputation. Then a man who writes under the name S.B. Somtao, who is Thai nobility and a very famous science fiction writer, pointed out in the pages of the Bangkok Post that, and it came from a book by Kukrit Pramod. If you don't know Kukrit Pramod, look him up. He was the first democratically elected prime minister in this country, and he was a prolific writer and playwright and very artistic man. So he wrote all these novels and books of short stories. They took one of his novels and they made it into this movie, and S.P. Somtao points out in the Bangkok Post, that's the Cuckoos of Eastwich by John Wyndham. It's a very famous.
I've read all John Wyndham's books.
Yeah, very famous juvenile science fiction novel in the West. And this revered man, this former prime minister, this great artist, had completely ripped off, it turned out, all these other Western authors for all his novels. Well, not all, but many of his novels. Red Bamboo and Four Rains are all his, and they're beautiful, beautiful books about ancient Thailand. But when he was being prolific, he was pretty much ripping off what he'd read when he was studying at Oxford as a young man in England. And they said, and Somtao pointed out, you can't submit these to festivals. This is plagiarism in the West. You will be laughed. You'll be the laughing stock. You take this to Cannes, take this to Sundance, you'll be a laughing stock. So they just, they released it in Thailand. I went and watched it. It was a very well-made movie. I thought, or my memory is that it was. But it couldn't be done. There was no way they were going to make back their $5 million or whatever they'd spent on it. So everybody was saying, when I left this country in 1997, everybody was saying, that's it. The Thai movie industry is dead. The Thai movie industry will never do anything big again. Well, you want to make God laugh, make a plan,
As long as they love their horror movies, and there's got to be a gay or a Katoi character in there.
And they've got to act flouncy. They've got to be effeminate, but not convincingly effeminate. Yes. It's very rare to find a Katoi who's convincing in Thai cinema.
Something about their movies, generally, anything that's like an emotional moment, that might be a glance or something, they just stretch it out for minutes. Whereas it usually in real life it just takes seconds. They just drag it out. It's like, oh, come on, let's get on with it.
Cheap and free.
Look, I think I've got other things to talk about, but we've run out of time.
Okay.
Thanks for watching the Steve Ross Show.
Please do go watch the Steve Ross Show. The channel is Steve Ross, ROSSE.
The link is in the description.
Link is in the description. Thank you, Tim.
Every week. And yes, I think I got a few words in today.
There's always the duck.
There's always the duck.
I will stop speaking the moment I hear that.
I'll have to use the duck more prolifically in the next program. Thanks for watching. Could you please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so? When you're watching Steve's stuff, you can subscribe to his channel as well, because guess what? Thank you very much. It's free. We don't charge you.
No.
And it gives you the opportunity to drop into Steve's Boontong's Beach Bar.
Don't forget to add a shot out the door this time.
I did shoot it last time, but I forgot to put it on, as I do. We sort of do all this in one take. No edits. Can you imagine?
Nah. Can't afford an editor.
We need a Katoi and a sort of a flouncing gay character in the program.
Mm-hmm. There's a few here in town. Yeah. I could invite them. Yeah.
So we could have had an audience today, but you said no.
No.
They could have been sitting there going, and laughed at the right times.
This is the audience I'm performing to. Anybody over here or back here or over there is an unwelcome distraction. I very much appreciated Rick and Sue and Gav for coming and bringing me
and Molly
and Molly, who came this morning and brought lighting instruments. But no, not when we're shooting. There's no studio audience at Boontong's. No, and no studio audience for Grumpy Old Men.
And I work for the Duck. So thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you next Sunday. We appreciate you watching us, and we'll do it all again next week.
Bye.